This is a guard-dominated league. That was a phrase echoed by many throughout the 2010s, but at the turn of the decade, it has slowly shifted towards big men or bigger wing players. That doesn't mean guards are any less valuable though. In recent years, if somebody asked you who's the best young point guard in the league, and by young, let's say under the age of 25. A year ago, players that came to mind would be Trae Young or Ja Morant, or obviously Luka, though Luka, he doesn't have a true position, and he's played alongside guys who are actually labeled as point guards like Brunson. Regardless, even guys like LaMelo Ball and Darius Garland were highly praised. Almost exactly a year ago from today, in March of 2022, ESPN reached out to 15 different league executives and gave them a survey, asking them to rank these young point guards based on who they want to build around. Among these 6 players, as you can see, Shai got the second lowest ranking. However, if they were to conduct this survey today, Shai would probably be behind only Luka on this ranking. Now, the 2022-23 season has been a revelation for Shai, and it's time to take a look at how he was able to make this massive jump, and became the NBA's most unique superstar. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and let's get started. But before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to DraftKings for sponsoring this video. The NBA season is halfway done, but there's still a ton of time left to get in on the action. I'm teaming up with DraftKings Sportsbook to give all new customers a winning offer. New customers who sign up using my promo code ANDYHOOPS and then bet at least $5 on a pregame moneyline for any basketball game, you'll receive an additional $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Yup, you heard it right. New customers can bet $5 on any pregame moneyline, and if you win, $150 in bonus bets will be deposited into your accounts. You can then use that extra money to bet on other stuff too, and you can even combine different bets for a single game. Like, you can bet on which player will score first or which team will be leading at halftime, to earn even bigger winnings. If mobile sports betting isn't available in your state, you can still participate in the DraftKings Daily Fantasy. You can bet on their website or download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. For new customers, use my promo code ANDYHOOPS. Bet $5 on a pregame moneyline and win an additional $150 if your bet wins. That's promo code ANDYHOOPS, only on DraftKings. Perhaps the first thing about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that stands out is his height. Shai is a taller, slender point guard, standing at 6'6". Of course, there are and have been plenty of other taller point guards in NBA history. But the thing with Shai is that he plays the game how everyone imagines a taller point guard should play. For most other point guards, it's normal to see them overwhelm other players, whether it's through raw athleticism or speed. Take Russell Westbrook or prime Derrick Rose or even modern-day Ja Morant. Shai is not like that though, nor does he have the strength and girth to overpower his defenders like Luka. He wasn't blessed with those physical tools, but instead, his taller stature became the foundation for his playstyle. He's subtle in the way he scores, preferring to use his length and footwork to create space, as opposed to his handles or speed. That doesn't mean his handles are bad, and it doesn't mean he's slow, but compared to most other stars, those aren't a huge strength of his. Shai is very meticulous in how he scores, with a calculated approach that many fans would think is boring to watch. Maybe he is, and maybe that's why he's underrated. I mean, do you think fans get more excited from watching Steph or Dame shoot long threes, or Kyrie displaying his handles, or LaMelo's fancy passes, or Morant's explosive dunks? Perhaps. But that makes the beauty of Shai's game stand out more. Statistically, as of this video, Shai is currently averaging the 5th highest points per game in the NBA, with 30.8. But more impressively, his efficiency skyrocketed. To give you an idea of the company he's in, only 3 players in the NBA are averaging over 30 points a game on at least a 62% true shooting percentage. Those 3 players are Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There are 7 players who average at least 30 points a game this season, and of those 7, Shai averages the fewest 3-point shots per game. His 2.6 threes per game is even less than Giannis or Embiid. This is a noticeable stat compared to Shai's previous years, where he was throwing up around 5 threes a game. The thing is, he's not even a bad three-point shooter. His 35% three-point percentage isn't terrible, but it's certainly the weakest aspect of his game. Shai and his coaches identified this weakness, so he immediately improved once he started taking fewer threes and focused more on taking mid-range shots. Now, this is a sentence you probably haven't heard in a while. A player actually getting better by going mid-range instead of three? Nearly 1/3 of his shots come from between 10 feet and the three-point line, which is normally considered mid-range distance. From a pure percentage standpoint, Shai is shooting 34% from 3, which is actually slightly better than the 50% he shoots from mid-range, because 34% from 3 is basically 51% from 2. However, by simply being in the mid-range area, it creates more opportunities for himself and his teammates. His length allows him to traverse from mid-range to the basket very quickly, and usually with 1 or 2 steps. We see it often where he has the ball around 15 to 20 feet from the basket, and he blows by his defender to finish. If he stays further out on the three-point line more often, plays like this would be much harder to convert. Additionally, Shai's preference for the mid-range forces the defense to play closer to the basket, which in turn gives his teammates more open shots from 3. This theory is backed up by the numbers too. According to the NBA.com dashboard, the Thunder are tied with the Bucks for first in the NBA in wide-open threes attempted. As a team, they attempt 21.9 open threes per game. Of course, his teammates haven't been hitting them too consistently. Among the top 5 teams in open threes attempted, the Thunder hit them at the lowest percentage. Still, the point is, Shai is generating a ton of open looks, and that's what you want to see. Once their young guys improve or the team gets better shooters, they'll have the blueprint for success. It's a great sign they're getting all these open looks in the first place. If you look at the rest of the roster, there's no way Shai should have any business leading this team to a near 500 record in the West. Yet, that's what he's doing. They're shockingly a borderline playoff team. I forgot to mention, now that Shai is playing closer to the basket, he's also drawing way more fouls than before. This has resulted in him being low-key on the verge of breaking an interesting NBA record. He's attempting 10.5 free throws per game, and he's hitting them at an absurd 91.2% rate. That is the highest free throw percentage of anybody in history who attempts at least 10 free throws per game. In fact, no other player in history had a season averaging 10+ free throw attempts on over 90%. That's just absurd, and that's why his efficiency is so high. No other point guard, heck scratch that, no other player in the NBA plays like Shai. And we haven't even talked about his defense yet. He's averaging 1.6 steals and 1.1 blocks per game, the only guard in the NBA to average at least 1 block per game. That's nice to see, but there's way more to his defense than this. Out of all players in the Thunder starting lineup, Shai has the best individual defensive rating of 112.5. For most of the season, the team has sustained a top 10 defense, and Shai has been a huge factor in this. Out on the perimeter, he's a hounding defender. That's what he was known for back on the Clippers. Due to his length and foot speed, he smothers smaller defenders. He intercepts passing lanes and just makes it difficult for smaller guards. Obviously, he has his weaknesses too. In particular, his lanky frame has been a subject of bullying by stronger players. Overall, he's a net positive on defense. The last few questions I want to pose is, how can Shai improve even further? So far, he's been dominating from every spot on the floor within the three-point line, but there are still times when he struggles to finish when he gets into the paint. Those small mini jumpers, the short floaters, sometimes he struggles to hit them. In fact, his efficiency from mid-range is better than his efficiency from the area outside the restricted zone but inside the paint. The elephant in the room is, will he need to develop a three-point shot in the future? In an era where almost every guard is required to shoot, it adds another dimension to Shai's game that makes him even harder to defend. Well, he's proven he doesn't need one, but in the future, if he does happen to play with another elite ball handler, having a three-point shot is crucial. Playing off the ball is the biggest topic I haven't talked about yet. I'm not saying Shai is bad at doing that, but he just doesn't do it very often. For example, he only cuts to the basket 2.7% of the time, and he only takes fewer than 1 catch-and-shoot jump shot per game. He's hardly playing off the ball at all. all of Shai's production has been as the primary ball handler, cause he's by far and away the best offensive player on this team right now. We'll have to see how he adapts his playstyle once the Thunder get better as a team. As of now, if Shai continues scoring like this while maintaining his absurd level of efficiency, he can take as many shots as he wants. As it stands right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder caught lightning in a bottle. They got their guy. Nobody expected Shai to go from a borderline star to an absolute superstar in a single offseason. I expected him to slow down as the season progressed, but that hasn't happened at all. The concern now is maybe he's peaking too quickly. I mean, Chet Holmgren has yet to play a single NBA game, and most of the Thunder roster is still barely getting their foot in the door. They'll have to grow up fast if they want to keep up with Shai and actually support him in their playoff endeavors. Anyway, that's all folks. Let me know your thoughts on Shai and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Where do you see them heading towards the next few years? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.